Hey everybody, it's Uncle Fester again. So this is part 5 of my new Street Fighter 5 modding tutorial. Really quick, I keep forgetting to show what to do after you bake your normal map in Blender. So as you can see here, the image is with a star next to it. Just click on image, click on image, and then you could click on save as image. And in here you give it a name. You're going to save it as TGA, right? Or you could do TGA raw, which is an uncompressed version. Unselect, save as render. Relative path is fine. Select RGB because there's no alpha. And then give it a name. We'll call it new normal. Blah, who cares? This is uncompressed 32-bit, so it's going to be extremely large. It depends on what you're going to do with the map, with the normal map. It's like 60 megabytes. It's still relatively small in comparison. So it'll be around this size, 64, right? I don't see a problem with it, so I save it as raw. You can save it as regular TGA, which will give you a file size of around 24 to 48. Okay, we're done there. Okay, so now I'm going to show you my Quixel Suite workflow. So this is the normal map that I created in Blender, and I have separated out the portions for arms and face that I want to use. So see here, I have, these are the veins that I created on the subdivided mesh. This is the torso, head with some gashes in it, and his arms. So I'm going to show you how to overlay this onto the regular normal map using Quixel Suite. So I'm going to fire that up now really quick. And let's go to grab my normal map that I've already created. So okay, here's another thing. I'm just going to really quick go over the changes that I've made to the maps. Alright, so let's open up this. Oh, and I'm also going to show you how to create a material ID map to use specifically for dedo. And I'll explain what that is and why you would want it. Okay, so as you can see here in the SSS, which is subsurface scattering map, which is used for skin, I've added red here for the head where I removed the hair, and then I carried this over from Alex's, which will allow the skin to reflect correctly. I also gave it shading on the alpha layer. And for the SRMA, I changed the skin. It used to be kind of greenish on Bison. I gave it the hue that Alex used, which is better for the zombie skin. And then I went ahead and put the same shading here. See, the thing is, even though I have all this crap underneath, it doesn't matter, because the only thing that's the engine will use is what's marked on the vertex, or the UV channel of the mesh. So even just doing this is perfectly fine. You don't need to make all this nice and pretty and remove all the stuff you're not going to use, because it's not going to get red anyways. And then this is the normal map that we're going to be using now, which I'm going to show you what to do with. This is the regular mask that Bison has, where I just changed this, because this was hair and this was some other garbage. And then I added the pants from Alex here. Okay, and I also changed the alpha channel to white so it would display. Okay, and of course the color map, where this I created in Quixel Suite. Actually, I don't like this one. It's too much. So I'm going to replace this with something else. And I'll show you how I did this now. Let me open that other one up. I believe it's this one. Yes. No, not this one. That's the base, which I'm not going to go through right now. Well, I guess for the purposes of this video, might as well. I'll pick that there. Actually, I know I'm gonna forget where I have it. I'm sorry, guys. I should have taken care of this before starting the video. Alright, so here's the base normal map where I've added the arms and the chest and the pants. Now I want to implement it. As you can see here, this is the normal muscular texture or mapping that Alex uses, and this is Bison's regular normal. I want to add the difference of what I've baked onto this. So normally it would be extremely tedious because you would have to do this all through Blender. You'd have to try to rework the muscles on the mesh itself so it comes out the right way. A bunch of garbage. Or you can try using like overlay and stuff in Photoshop. It can take forever. The easiest way is if you have Endo or Quixel Suite to use this, because it has a function specifically for that. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this on top of this. As you can see here, it's solid. Right? Now, Quixel Suite or Endo is pretty intuitive, and it will actually do a really good job in converting this layer into something that will meld with this. I don't know why it's taking so long. I don't have anything else running on my system. So to do this, you click again on this little page and you go down to Mix and you select Overlay Normal, and it will create this layer as an overlay. It puts all of the information that's required in order to convert it into an overlaid normal map. Quixel will take care of it, so it removes the hard work that one would have to go through to do it directly through Photoshop. And now you can see that my veins have been added correctly to the existing normal map. There's really nothing that I need to do here to change anything. Maybe get rid of this because I don't like it. And this. And that's it. And now I can just merge these together. And we're going to save that. I want to make sure it's in the right place. Okay, perfect. It's 32 bits. I always save targets as 32 bits. Alright, so now we can close this and close this. Now I'm going to show you how to make a matte ID. Okay, this is the material ID that I created earlier. So you're going to use this for painting in Dedo, which is what I used to create the normal maps that I created, and the albedo texture, which is the diffuse texture. So the more separated you put everything, the better the Dedo can do in applying materials to specific portions of the mesh. So as you can see here, I got a distinct yellow for skin, blue is the foot guards and boots, red is the pants, and you got here leather, so it's gonna put this together, which is perfectly fine. That's exactly what I want. And green are like the shoulder pads and stuff, which I removed anyways. I think arm bracers are also green. So now that I have this set up, I'm going to go ahead and fire up my Dedo. I think maybe I need more coolant. No. Alright, so here I select the FBX mesh, Okay, let me explain. So when you open up Dedo, if you put a mesh here, this will actually display it in 3Do, which is a 3D rendering of your mesh, and it'll apply all of the maps that you put in here onto that mesh. So in real time, you can see any changes that you make to any of the maps that you're working with, which is an excellent way of either creating from scratch or modding any character or asset for that matter. Now I'm going to preset base materials. Okay, so let's go ahead and select the mesh here, which is this one. This is the most recent one that I've exported from Blender. Okay, I select optimize mesh. You don't really need to do that. It's not required, but I do it because I think it looks good. We're going to get rid of this flip Y because I have the normal map already. The normal map's green channel already flipped. Now here I'm adding my material ID map, which is the one that I just showed how we created, which will allow Dedo to determine what is skin, clothing, what have you. Each color would correspond to a specific material that the mesh uses. Now, the way that it works, there's no assigned color. You can create any color you want. What it does is it scans a color here and then matches it to a portion of your mesh and says, okay, well, this portion on the mesh has this material assigned to it. So then it'll consider this color for that material. This is basically how it works. I'm going to add our normal map. Yes, it was this one. 64. Yep. That's a good one. And then scroll down. Now, you can add more maps if you have them. Like if you had created a separate ambient occlusion or height map, you can add that. Like here, I'm going to bake the gradient in object space normal, even though I don't need to. It'll bake it in 3D just to have it look. Here's my pre-baked albedo, which is your color map here. So we're going to go ahead and add that. And if there was any other maps that you were using, you can add them in. Here you select your export target. I'm using UE4 RMA packed. This will tell you what it's going to create based on what you're exporting to. Dedo is assuming that you're exporting directly into your game from here, so it's going to create actual materials and textures that you would then export into Unreal Engine to use for your game. See, here's albedo M, which is different. It's like a grayed out albedo, and I don't like it, so I'm going to use RMA packed, which keeps this. Okay, and you don't need to use pre-based materials if you don't want to. I have it for a specific reason. I like the preset based materials. Here, we're going to go ahead and make this, and now it's going to start designing everything. This is going to take a little minute. Here it's creating the mesh based on how many colors were on the material ID, which is why I had 4. And I think it'll recognize up to 16 different colors. So you can have 16 different materials applied to your mesh. Okay, another thing, just in case you didn't know, this basis, it resizes automatically every single map used based off of whichever map was inputted as the largest one, which is usually your normal map. So our normal map is 4096 by 4096, which is a 4K normal map. So all of these textures are now all 4K as well. So after you finish working in Quixel Suite, you'll have to resize the corresponding textures back down. Or I mean, you don't have to technically, because we're creating our own assets, our own textures, so we can leave them 4K if we want to, which I probably will on mine. I'll probably leave them like that, see how good it looks. Okay, this is a Dynamask, and this is just for, I believe it's the roughness. Yeah, it's separated out for roughness. And this is what we currently have our normal map looking at. Go 100 please. Okay, perfect. Everything looks good here. Yeah. Alright, now the mask you can also use to assign specific weathering effects or materials from Dedo onto specific portions. For example, I'm going to be now I want to add a smart material, and I'm going to add skin. This is still loading. I haven't really gone into applying materials from Dedo onto your project and having it only affect the parts that you want it to based off of the mask ID. I haven't really used this function because most of the games that I mod, I don't have access to a mesh, so it was irrelevant on those games. I do everything by hand. I separate everything out manually. So we're going to go to organic, creature, and inflamed monster. See, it's creating 8 materials, which is everything that it needs for this specific smart material. Hopefully it's already going to automatically assume that because I'm picking something organic, it's going to be applied to the skin material. It might not. I might have to designate that. Yeah, it didn't. Okay. So see, like all of this other stuff I don't need. It's one of these. No, 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 no. No, where is my material ID? Okay. So this is what it's done to the material ID map. And this is what I want. Nope. Okay. So I'm gonna just grab it myself. Ah. Sorry. Okay, so now we're going to be working within the confines of just the skin that I want to make. Alright, so now we're going to go into Inflamed Monster Skin. And in here, there's a multitude of different things that we could do. So what hold on, let me also go into the normal map and do the same thing. I want to make sure. Okay, there's nothing on the clothes. Perfect. There should be on the skin though. It's getting there. Okay, that looks good. Alright. It looks like it's taking effect the way I want it to. Alright. So here I can adjust colors and stuff for all of the different textures that I'm using. So I'm going to go into flesh and we're going to make this a nice greenish color. I want something like yeah, that looks good. And then we'll go into skin and do something like let's go back into this one. Yeah, that looks good. Let's change this dry blood to something a little darker. And the sores we're gonna make. That looks good. Let's bring down this opacity just a little bit. And let's go back. Okay, I want to increase the intensity. I don't know why it keeps deselecting what I'm selecting. Sorry about that. See, how am I running out of RAM? That makes no sense. I'm only using 29% memory and 3% CPU, and it's giving me this bullshit. Okay, we're gonna scale this down a bit. Same thing for this. There we go. That's what I like to see. Okay, let's check out this normal map. See, this shouldn't be here. I need to clean that up. Okay, here we go. Let's select inverse. Make sure I'm only working on that. And I can go ahead and hide that layer. I can actually delete this. I hope you guys can follow along okay so far. Let me take a look. I think maybe it's a little too much. I like those sores. Let's go back into this. I think maybe my scratch disk for Photoshop is full, which is why this thing is running slow. Because as you can clearly see, my computer is not using barely any resources. I'm using 3% CPU and only 29% of the 32 gigs of memory that I have. Blender will actually use all of the memory I have available. I've had Blender get up to 28 gigs. You can clearly see here my CPU is not being used. I have 16 threads and it's barely knocking a dent into it. And my memory, I'm using 9 gigs. I have 22 gigs available and I'm running at 2933. So there's no reason for this to be this slow other than it's trying to read it off of a scratch disk instead of actual RAM. I need to adjust how my Photoshop works. Okay, so let's try it at -1 instead, see how that looks. That's too big. Yeah, that's a little too big. That's better. Yeah, so I think this is where I'm going to leave it. I like how this looks. I might even do away with some of that dried up blood on there. Oh no, I kind of like it. Yeah, I like how that looks too. I think that looks pretty good. All right. So now all you would need to do is just group all of your things. First, I like to save anything that I'm working in. So I click on that little save icon there. It's going to save each map. I'm not working with roughness or normal, so even though they have them here, and you will have a roughness map and an I'm sorry, I meant metal instead of normal, and a metal map, where if you were creating your own game and you use those maps, it will come in extremely helpful. But we don't use these in Street Fighter 5. So so far I like what I see here, and then I'm going to pack this. So you would just click on here, group selected, right? So here what you would do is, okay, this is how you assign the materials. That's perfect. So this is all assigned, was all assigned to a universal, where I could assign them specifically to different parts. I'm just going to leave that alone because I don't really care. These are all the ones that are selected. So when you click group selected, it's going to group all of these into the skin. No, that was my bad. It's what I select in this screen. What happened here? Alright, let's do it this way. Group the whole thing. And then I'm going to group the background. And then the layer. Okay, then I can right click here and merge groups, merge visible, and now here I have my texture that I'm going to use for my character. For the normal map, I'm going to do something a little different, I think. Let me just take a look. Just double check. Yeah, I'm just going to like right click on this. Oh, wait, where is it? Right here. Right click on the texture base and click merge visible, and it'll merge everything. Because I'm done with this map. This is exactly how I want it to look. And we're going to make sure that our channels are still the right way. You know, this is inverted. At least on my screen right now, these veins are inverted. I'm not sure how it's going to come out in the recording. The last video that I did, the update video, for some reason on my screen it looked inverted, but in the recording it came out normal. Let me see. Yeah, that's odd. So let's figure out what's causing that. That doesn't make sense. And now it's fine. Yeah, it's odd. Now it's the right way. I don't know. Maybe my eyes are playing tricks on me. That's also a possibility. Anyway, sorry about that. I kind of went off in a tangent there and I wasted a lot of everybody's time. This is basically the ins and outs of Quixel Suite. I forgot to show you guys what this looks like. That's my fault as well. I'll show you now. I should still apply everything because I haven't actually closed it. And yeah. So this is what he looks like currently. As you can see here, everything came out perfect. You can see here the nice big large veins, all the veins on his back, across his head. We got some good veins protruding out of there. Yeah, that looks really good. He's got good definition on his stomach. I think the next Halloween mod I do, I'm going to cut the top of the head off and put a brain in there. And maybe put some guts right here. That seems like something that I want to do. But again, this is a cool way to look at your work while you're doing it, so you can see how it's coming out. I already like this skin and how it's looking right now. You have different lighting effects up here that you can go through. And which one is? I think it's the. Wait. Yeah. If you hold down the shift key and then the right mouse button, you can shift between light, how it reflects off the skin. It's like right there, that's pretty cool. You have dry blood all over them. Yeah, that looks really nice. Alright, well that concludes this tutorial and this mod. I don't think I'm actually going to do anything else to him. He looks really good. Like I like this, how it's sunk in there into his face. Yeah, like all of the holes and sores he has everywhere. Yeah, I like the way that this came out. Okay, I lost it there for a second. I don't know what happened. There we go. Sorry about that. It's got a good shine to it and everything. Except that this is not protruding properly. Doesn't look like it. Anyways, guys, this concludes this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you want to see more tutorials for modding or this game or any other game, or tutorials for anything else, feel free to ask me in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel for more content. Leave a like, a suggestion. If you have any requests, leave them down below. Hit me up on Twitter, and support me on Patreon. $1 a month goes a long way for me. Thank you.